This event will be held in Turkish and English both. Değerli konuklarımız, sevgili meslektaşlarımız, Tchoban Mimarlar Odası İstanbul Büyükkent Şubesi olarak sizlere mimarlıkta çizim, düşünsel ve yaratıcı süreçteki yerini odağına alan özel bir buluşmada ağırlamaktan büyük mutluluk duyuyoruz. Bugün bizlerle birlikte olan Yüksek Mimar Sergei Tchoban, Çizimlerle Düşünmek başlıklı konuşmasında mimari fikrin zihinden ele, oradan da bir imgeye ve çizime dönüşen yaratıcı sürecini, el çiziminin tasarım sürecindeki vazgeçilmez rolünü ve mimarlığın siyasal, toplumsal ve ekolojik, kültürel bağlamlarla kurduğu ilişkiyi kendi deneyimleri üzerinden bizlerle paylaşacak. Tchoban, çizimin yalnızca bir temsil aracı değil, aynı zamanda düşünmenin, araştırmanın ve üretimin temel biçimlerinden biri olduğuna inanıyor. Seçtiği projeler üzerinden bu yaklaşımını ve mimarlığın çağdaş sorunlarla kurduğu diyaloğu bizlere aktaracak. Dear guests, dear colleagues, on behalf of the Chamber of Architects Turkey Istanbul Metropolitan Branch, we are delighted to welcome you to this special gathering, which focuses on the role of drawings and intellectual and creative process of architecture. Today, we have the great pleasure of hosting architect Sergei Tchoban, who will share his insights in a talk titled Thinking Through Drawings. In his lecture, he'll discuss the creative process through which an architectural idea transforms from the mind to the hand, and from there to an image and a drawing. He'll elaborate on the irreplaceable role of hand drawing in design and explore how architecture engages with political, social, ecological, and cultural contexts. For Tchoban, drawing is not merely a means of representation, but a fundamental form of thinking, exploring, and creating. Through selected projects, he'll share his approach and reflect on the dialogue the architecture establishes with contemporary issues. Şimdi Çizimlerle Düşünmek başlıklı konferansını gerçekleştirmek üzere Yüksek Mimar Sergei Tchoban'ı sözü kendisine bırakıyoruz. And now we invite architect Sergei Tchoban to deliver his lecture Thinking Through Drawings. We kindly leave the floor to him.
No, thank you very much. It is really great to see you, and I must say I'm really very big fan of your town, and every time really very glad to be here. I'm often here, and I love also your architects, know many of your colleagues, and very glad of course to be invited here in this very honorable space.
I think yeah, okay. Bizimle birlikte olmaktan, İstanbul'da olmaktan çok mutlu olduğunu belirtiyor. Bizle birlikte buradaki birçok mimarı da tanıdığını, onlarla arkadaş olduğunu ve dilimizle de ilişki kurduğunu belirtti. Davetimiz için de çok teşekkür ediyor.
So the first of all, exactly what was told, I am trying like to think with drawings, because I draw from my studying time, from my childhood time, and I love drawing as a learning process of ideas, what I see in the architecture today and in the past.
Çizimi çocukluğundan beri bir araç olarak kullandığını ve çizimle düşünmenin ona her zaman yardım ettiğinden bahsetti.
That's all what I show you are my drawings. They are making partly in situ, so I was sitting here and have drawn, for example, this Pisa Tower, because I had a big exhibition to 850th anniversary of Pisa Tower in Pisa last year in winter, and that's why I just learned once more how the historical town goes on. It is a lot of background buildings and some very pointed, very interesting towers or elements. So you have every time very balanced city between surrounding, and some elements are going higher and are outstanding.
Geçen yıl Pisa Kulesi'nin açılışı için yapacağı sergiden önce tam bu noktada durup eskiz çizmiş. Çünkü kentin bu noktasının birbiriyle dengesini ve bazı elementlerin öne çıkıp diğerlerinin background'da arkada kaldığını ve bu şekilde çizim yaparak onu özümsemeye çalıştığını ve tarihi kenti de bu şekilde aktarmaya çalıştığını ifade ediyor.
But the development of town became to be more and more speedy and over the human scale of, let's say, of the past. In the 20th century, it was tried to bring the old clothing, the old order on the new scale, and at least it became to be quite unregulated, quite wild, what we can see in all our cities today. So it means that all language of architecture, but also regulations of our towns, became to be completely different to what happened for 200-300 before our time.
Bu eskizinde aslında kentin farklı katmanlarını farklı yıllarda ve aslında yıllar geçtikçe değişen regülasyonlarla, düzenlemelerle bize nasıl aslında kentte değişim yarattığını ve kentteki nasıl bir değişim olduğunu katmanlar halinde bu eskizle ifade etmeye çalıştığını belirtiyor.
It has fallen to the situation in many towns, also in your town, but especially in the towns were hardly demolished while the World War II, that some pieces, some restes of the town, let's say, of 19th century, became to be confronted with a new, not only language, but also with new scale of architecture, what makes very interesting but very contrastful dialogue between the language of past and the scale of past and architecture of, let's say, now, also contemporary modern architecture and scale of now.
Bizim kentimiz de dahil tabii ki. İkinci Dünya Savaşı'ndan sonra özellikle yıkılan kentlerde ve daha sonra 19. yüzyılda inşa edilmiş binalarda aslında mimarlığın diliyle birlikte ölçeğinin de değiştiğini çok net okuyabiliyoruz.
And it follows to the situation where we see now everywhere in Europe and not in Europe such a mise-en-scène, such a controversial, let's say, discussion or maybe also not discussion anymore between different times but between also different languages and scales. And the main question is what to do with. We have tried already to demolish such a building and to build something like this, but it was not successful. And what is the point now? What we have to do, for example, in Berlin with this controversial picture of the city?
Avrupa'da da gördüğümüz gibi aslında çelişkili bir takım durumlar görüyoruz ve tartışmalar ilk başta bunun üzerinden de özellikle önce yıkıp aynılarını tekrar yapmaya çalıştık. Bu işe yaramadı. Daha sonra yıkıp onlardan farklı kontrastlı bir şey yaratmaya çalıştık. Hala bu tartışmalar devam ediyor.
Many towns, especially in Europe and especially taking hardly part on the World War II, were demolished. What was a follow of the war, and from the urban fabric of 19th century, what was more or less the town of spaces, the town of streets and boulevards and we became first the empty place, and then we became the town of objects, the town of like geometrical sculptures.
Özellikle İkinci Dünya Savaşı'ndan sonra yıkılan binalarda ilk başta gördüğümüz şey bir takım bulvarlar, meydanlarla başlayan bir strüktür. Daha sonra boşluklara evrildi yıkılan binalarla birlikte. Daha sonra da aslında burada gördüğümüz gibi bir takım geometrik şekillerin kent meydanlarında kendini gösterdiği bir süreçle ilerledi.
And the main question is what to do with this now, because we have with every day more and more economical possibilities, and the first decision is away with it, demolish it, but I think it's completely wrong, and not only me, many people think now it is completely wrong from the ecological aspects, but also from the aspects of our soul. We don't like to change our picture, the picture of our towns, so often and so rigorous, so like the wasted away what we had already yesterday.
Could you please just repeat the last sentence?
The last sentence is we don't like to waste the things what we have already,
Okay.
what we are using to see. For example, I have seen this picture like I was in Berlin 1990.
Yeah, sure.
And I was glad with because it was a part of Berlin, and I don't like to see it demolished 20 years or 30 years later, just because our time is now much more new and we can build higher and maybe more contemporary, but we can build more contemporary every 30 years. So it means we demolished every 30 years
Yeah.
whole town and built new.
Also-
What is I think very wrong.
Also in Istanbul, everything is changing so fast.
Yeah, great. But
Yani yeniden kullanımdan bahsediyoruz. Yeniden kullanım aslında yıkmak anlamına gelmiyor. Özellikle de tabii ki ekonomik ve ekolojik yanları bir yana biz aslında kentlerimizin, yaşadığımız kentlerin ruhunun da değişmesini sevmiyoruz ve bundan mutlu olmuyoruz. Çünkü örneğin buradan bahsetti. Burası onun yıllarca gördüğü bir görsel ve bunun değişmesi aslında kentin ruhunun da değişmesi ve onun oradaki algısının da değişmesi anlamına geliyor. Kesinlikle. Yani.
That's why, as I took part on this competition, and the competition meant you can demolish, you can make new facade, you can make everything. So the building was not listed, was not in heritage. But I decided not to do it. Instead, the building was in bad substance. It was really big job to rebuild them, to reuse them in that substance it was, because it was not used, abounded for many years. And still I decided to do with them nothing. And now is the building like it was in that day. I have seen it for the first time, so for 30 years. And I'm, to be frankly, very proud that this new picture is like an old picture,
Yeah.
one to one.
Bu proje onun what was the usage of this building? Sorry,
Office building.
Office
It was quite demolished. It was abounded, but it was office building, and it will be office building. It is office building.
O gösterdiği eski yapı, onun yerine yaptığı yapı bu ve ikisi de ofis binası, kullanımı da değişmemiş ama temelde amaçladığı şey aslında o sahnenin, kent parçasının temeldeki görünümünün değişmemesi ve onu elinden geldiğince belli aynı şekilde korumak olduğunu söyledi.
And I think it is also a point for many buildings what are staying and are like abounded. Like for example, for this small building from the 30s in Moscow, what I developed not only as a town planning construction of these three skyscrapers and reusing of this building, but the most important point, how to reuse this building to make from them very important cultural institution.
This is a reuse project?
That is a real project, yes.
So sorry,
reuse project,
yeah,
yes.
so-
That is the old bread factory. And it
A
had
bread
to be
factory.
somehow reused, and I decided not only reused, but I proposed also cultural function for it, the center of the research of constructivismus. You know that Russia, Moscow is very important for constructivismus, finding as a part of avant-garde. And this building was reused by myself. It is listed building. It cannot be demolished, but it can could be used like very profane. And my idea was not to use profane, but use it as a cultural center, as a research center for constructivismus, and to reuse it in very interesting, soft way.
Bu proje mevcutta bir ekmek fabrikasıymış eski halinde ve tam olarak yapmaya çalıştığı şey bir kentsel dokunun içinde yeniden bir şey inşa etmek yerine bu projeyi bir kültürel işlev de katarak yeniden kullanımına, özellikle de etrafındaki değişmiş dokudan farklı olarak yeniden kullanılmasını sağlamak olmuş. Hani şeyi ifade etti, yani burayı çok daha farklı, daha tırnak içinde agresif bir şekilde kullanabilme ihtimali de vardı. Ama ben sadece onu kültürel bir fonksiyon ekleyerek olduğu gibi bırakmayı tercih ettim. Bu da aslında yine dokunun korunmasıyla birlikte düşünülebilir.
Now it is one of the most popular cultural centers in Moscow.
Moskova'daki en çok kullanılan, en popüler kültürel merkezlerden birisi halinde.
With amazing exhibitions of avant-garde, with amazing lectures, program, but it wasn't that substance. And it was very interesting for me not to find only the substance of 30s, but also the substance of 70s, and from many times we are here while the house was bread factory.
Sadece belli bir, yani ilk kullanıldığı yüzyıldan değil, 17. yüzyıldan bile bir takım elementler içeriyordu. Ekmek fabrikası olarak kullanıldığından beri. O yüzden bu noktada çok farklı bir çeşitlilik olduğunu söylüyor. I didn't understand that. Did you use like the old elements fully?
I used all the layers of development of this house, not only from 30s, but like this handsome lady from 70s, like these black parts from like 60s, like these parts also from 70s, and tried to add them in the old picture of the building. So you don't see only the substance of 30s and all other is avoid, but you see all layers going over each other.
1930'lardan, 40'lardan, 60'lardan olan elementleri farklı şekillerde binanın içinde tutmaya özen gösterdiğini, böylece her katmanı görebildiğimizi ifade etti.
So I made it very smoothly, as I hope. For example, all this floor is new because in the underneath you have wonderful possibility to make conditioning of the spaces. You can exhibit there really as a museum. But on the same time, you see all layers happening with this place along nearly 100 years. What I think is very important for the renovation of such spaces, that you don't renovate clean, like you avoid all things after, but you renovate and show all the layers of the time.
Temelde yumuşak bir geçiş elde etmeye çalıştığını ifade ediyor. Özellikle birden fazla 100 yıllık bir yapının içinde birden fazla katmanı kullanarak, onları içinde tutmaya devam ederek yapılan bir restorasyonun aslında yumuşak bir geçişe izin verdiğini ifade ediyor.
And still you see them all, but you can exhibit very different elements there. You can notice what happened with the building, but you see also new elements, this central shaft for energy and new floors, giving all air conditioning from downstairs and leave calm these ceilings, this historical thing, because normally the museum goes from upstairs, but this museum goes every time from downstairs and from the walls. So it makes them very functionally. You can exhibit their Mona Lisa, but still you see the old building in its beauty.
Bütün katmanları hala görebilmemiz, özellikle aslında sergi mekanının içinde gezerken binada neler olduğunu, daha önce neler olduğunu anlık olarak her an fark edebiliyor olmamızdan bahsetti. Bir takım tabii ki işte şaft gibi bir takım teknik detaylar, teknik elementler değişmesine rağmen binanın içinde oluşturduğu bu boşlukla birlikte hem eski yapının hala fark edilebilir olması, ama bir yandan da çok güncel ve farklı çeşitlerde sergilerin orada yapılabiliyor olması farklı katmanları bir araya getiriyor.
I make a lot of exhibition design. It's also my exhibition design, where I've shown by the first exhibition how it could be exhibited. So you make fully transparent elements for exhibiting. Really masterpieces by Rodchenko, big guy from avant-garde, but you see still the space and you see still the pictures after, and there is a great chance to see the space, to see the history, and still to see the art.
Aslında bir tutarlılıktan bahsediyor. Özellikle sergideki elementlerin de şeffaf yapılardan oluşması hala binayı serginin elementlerinin işte üzerindeki çizimlerin, fotoğrafların arkasından hala zemini, yapıyı ve o dokuları, geçmiş yılların dokularını görebilmemizi sergileme aracının da bir aslında yapının parçası olarak ele alınması gerektiğini ifade etti.
And it is also, as I told, great space for lecture program, where you see the central shaft, what was used for bread factory to transport the materials. And on the same time, you see modern installations inside of old structure with a timber, for example, with a timber roof. All them are completely reused and renewed. And on the same time, you see all old elements in the substance as it was.
Bu bir eğitim alanı yapının içinde. Ortadaki merkezi bir taşıma şaftı, ekmek fabrikası olarak kullanıldığı zamandan kalan. Üstteki ahşap tavan da aynı şekilde tamamen korunmuş.
Another building what I like to show you is also quite unusual. That is Nizhny Novgorod, also in Russia. And it was a place of old exhibition construction elements. It was in the time of 1870s. It was a big, very well-known exhibition there, like a fair, like an expo, and they built such a halls.
1800'lerden kalma eski bir expo alanında yaptığı projeden bahsedecek şu anda.
And from these halls, it was remaining only these.
Sadece bu varmış orada. When you did the project, there were only this one.
This one.
Yeah.
It is recent build, but I show you. It is still not a project. It was what it
What it were there.
What it was happened, you know. And it is also listed. It was heritage. What to do with this?
Bu tescilli bir kalan bu strüktür tescilli bir strüktürmüş o zamandan kalan.
I did this. I built inside the same form but smaller, and cladded it with mirroring material, that you have a feeling all elements are going through and mirroring each other without any end. So you don't see really the new building. You see the old building, but even more from this old building as before.
Bu projesinde aslında yeni bir binanın tam olarak yeni bir binanın inşa edilmediğini, eski strüktürün içine benzer bir formda daha küçük bir halini, özellikle de cephedeki aynalarla birlikte mevcut strüktürün de tekrar yansıtıldığı bir tasarım diliyle ele aldığını ifade ediyor.
It makes very interesting effect. You come inside and you see exhibition halls and concert halls and foyers inside of these buildings, but you see nothing from this building. You see just a mirroring, and you see for all of things this stable and completely prepared for long living the old construction, what is now staying there and saved and going good way.
İçeri girdiğinizde bir takım sergi alanları olmasına rağmen uzaktan ilk bakışta aslında bina görülmüyor bile. Yalnızca dıştaki strüktür görünebiliyor.
And inside, that is exactly the place between two elements, where you have a hall and the entrance, and you go right or left to cafe or to foyer or to exhibition hall, and you see how the legs of this construction going through. You can notice them. And all new constructions are mirroring, that you don't see the heavy constructions, but in any case you see just every time, let's say, the old construction in many different layers.
So this is the first scene when we enter the place?
Yes, that is the first thing. You go in between of two buildings. You go like here, and the leg of this construction goes inside of this element.
İçeri ilk girdiğimizde bizi iki binanın birleştiği bu nokta karşılıyor. sağa veya sola dağılan bir yapı var. Aslında ilk girdiğimizde içeride yeni binanın değil de bu iki binanın arasında kalan bir boşluğun görünmesi de hala o eskiyi göstermenin bir aracı olarak kullanmış. Çok ağır bir strüktür inşa etmeye çalışmadım. Yalnızca eski strüktürü ortaya çıkaran hafif bir yapı tasarlamak istedim.
That is a plan of them. We were on that point. That are the constructions. And you go right or left in the exhibition hall or concert hall. There are two similar elements. And the concert hall has amazing view to river. And that is the idea of the complex. You have just the same but smaller. And in this case, you put it inside of the construction, and the construction is completely untouched and makes them on the best way.
İki strüktür birbiriyle hiç dokunmuyor ve işte orta alandan bir konser alanına ve bir sergi alanına dağılan bir plan şemasıyla tasarlanmış.
And you see from the concert hall, for example, wonderful view by opening of this curtain to the river and to panoramic of the town. And of course to this old construction also.
So, could you please repeat the last sentence? I'm so sorry.
Also you see in the concert hall and you look out to the river, you see the construction, you see the panoramic of the town. That's the idea, the dialogue with the town.
Kentle diyalog kurabilmek adına konser salonundaki perdeden bütün bir kent panoramasını izleyebileceğimiz bir şemada.
And from outside you see the mirroring of town panoramic, and you see, for example, this orchestra on the stage.
Dışarıdan bakarken de aslında kent panoraması yine binanın cephesinde yansımaya devam ediyor. Onu tekrar görebiliyoruz. İçeride bir işte konser devam ederken.
That is the next point of not reuse, but reassembled a new building in the ensemble of old. That is a new office building inside of old brewery in Berlin.
So this is not a reuse project. This is.
It is some part reuse project in underground, but it is a new project in the old situation. So it is partly reuse, but very small partly. I show you how.
Bu eski bir yapıyla birlikte hem yeniden kullanım ama aynı zamanda yeniden inşa edilen alanlar da var. Berlin'deki projesi.
The idea was to use a place what was empty before, and to still not to close the view to the old building parts and connect them with a new like ground floor, and put of them on top of them like a sculpture this new building what has the same height as the surrounding but has completely of course contrastful language what is a part of our architecture to be contrastful to some places of the town but still to stay in the dialogue with old elements of this town.
Bu temeldeki fikir binadaki boş alanı kullanmaktı ama yine de arkadaki eski yapıların hiçbirinin görüşünü kapatmadan diğer binalarla eşit yüksekliğe sahip ama tam olarak onlarla bir kontrast içinde bir yapı yapmaktı.
For example, you see here through this cantilever, if you're staying downstairs, you see all this building. By putting the building down, you wouldn't see this building with a side wall because you would see the new one. But in this positioning, you see still the old building. On the other side, we turn the building a little bit, and if you go along the street, you see this old building also in that part. And if you look there, you go exactly to this tower because of turning of this 10 degree of old building to the historical structure.
Diğer bir fikir de temelde örneğin terastayken sağda ve solda eski yapıları görmek, binanın en üst terasındayken, yani ara teraslar değil en üst terastayken sağ ve soldaki eski yapıları görmek ve iki sokağın birleştiği yerde de aslında arkadaki eski yapıyı görmek, yani her açıdan diğer eski yapıların görülebilir olmasını sağlamak.
In this case, through the stepping back, you see all these elements from the street, and on the same time, through the increasing of this distance, you see the side wall of the neighbor building. What is important to understand the historical structure. But the most important point is inside. The building stays on the legs because we have historical cellars, and these historical cellars are now open for public. You can go inside and you see the structure of cellars of historical brewery, what was before completely closed for everybody.
Binanın altında bir takım eski yapıdan kalan bazı alanlar var. Onları da aslında yükselterek o alttaki alanın tamamen gezilebilir olmasını sağlamış.
You go inside and you see all these elements, and even you go from the parts of new building, and it is like a courtyard for them in connection with outside.
I'm so sorry, I missed. What was the use of these old?
It was brewery, beer.
Ah, beer. Okay.
Beer. Okay. And in this part of the city, the cellars are dry because it's on the hill, and that's why a lot of cellars for the keeping beer were there, and they are under heritage, and that's why we give them empty to see this construction from upstairs.
Ya bu alanlar bira depolamak için kullanılıyormuş. Bir yanlış mı anladım? Bence doğru anladım. Bira depolamak için. Fabrikanın bira depolama alanlarıymış. That's what I understand.
The next point, what I think is very important, of course, is using on new materials, and I like to show you some samples. How to go with these, or how I go with these. Maybe it would be interesting for you.
Yeni materyallerin kullanımıyla ilgili bir takım projelerinden bahsedeceğim.
First of all, this is my sketch, but by chance win one of the high prizes now for Architizer Vision. Big competition made worldwide for drawings and for visions. And these drawing shows that if you like to be climatic friendly, we should be quite closed outside because it could be cold, it could be warm, but our skin shouldn't be too much elaborated. But we should be quite elaborated inside, where we are saved from out climate. It's clear. Cold climate, warm climate, you should be closed, as you should be quite safe, and that's why not too elaborated with a lot of cantilevers, with a lot of surfaces, because you have to save the surfaces from the climate. But if you are inside and you are already saved through the outline, you can be more elaborated. So the pragmatic outside and unpragmatic inside, I think, is a good way to make the building climatic neutral and climatic friendly.
So sorry, I just missed the first.
Look,
I'm sorry.
Very clear thing.
Okay.
If it's cold, you don't go out and you make a lot of things to save them. Okay, that's why you are pragmatic outside, and you can be like in atrium or in the places inside. You can be more unpragmatic. So the idea of the building to be very pragmatic outside and to be quite unpragmatic inside is the idea of climatic friendly building. This building is very simple and it's square.
Okay.
And that is pragmatic.
Yes.
Okay? It's, I think, understandable. Yeah. Why it is pragmatic? Because out climate is strong and you have to save yourself from this pragmatic skin from the outside climate. You shouldn't be too elaborated, otherwise you have to save this very elaborated skin from the climate, and that is not very safe for climate. You use more material, you use more energy to save yourself, you know. That's why you should be pragmatic. And you build it with prefabricated elements, and you build it very fast. Also you make prefabricated timber elements, build one of other, and you are in 11 months ready with the building.
Binaların aslında bir ısı korunumu ve mevsimle ilişkisini kurabilmek için aslında daha soğuk alanlarda daha yapının kabuk kalınlığının daha kalın olması bizi aslında dışarıya karşı, soğuğa karşı koruyan bir şey, ama eğer içerideysek çok fazla kalınlık bir yandan da yapının kendi içinde daha fazla ısı tutmasına neden olabilir. Bu yüzden örnek olarak hazır kullanılmış ahşapların daha hızlı inşa etmemize izin verdiğini, ama bir yandan da kalınlığı nedeniyle aslında yapının içindeki ısı tutma kapasitesinin de daha düşük olduğunu ifade ediyor.
You build like first prefabricated wall and then prefabricated ceiling and you are very ready, very fast ready. That's the idea.
Bu çok hızlı bir inşa üretim süreci. Hızlıca bütün duvarları ve çatıyı koyup hızlıca inşa edebiliyoruz.
And you are very pragmatic in the outskin, nothing complicated, and very nice inside because it smells wood. It is very nice atmosphere. It's not a white box, but it's something very like at home. We have to be concurrent with a home office because many people are working today at home and we don't like that they work at home. So we have to create offices that are interesting, that are handsome, and that are smelling like home.
Ahşap yapıları, özellikle ahşap elementleri kullanmayı ofis gibi yapılarda bir koku, sıcaklık nedenleriyle bir ev hissi yarattığını, özellikle bugünlerde işte evden çalışmanın da artmasıyla birlikte bu materyalleri daha çok kullandığından bahsediyor.
And it looks very pragmatic. You have two big elements, big loggia, where you see wood. Otherwise you don't see wood because for German climate wood is not so good outside. But you see some very light material. It is very light buildings. All elements are very light, and this, for example, this facade is only 30 kilo per square meter, so very light and very good recyclable. And you see big entrance where you can feel already that inside find something very sensitive, very elaborated and very interesting.
Özellikle Almanya'da ahşap gibi maddeleri dış cephede çok fazla kullanmıyorlarmış. Hafif olması için örneğin cephedeki şu andaki projede kullanılan metrekare başına 30 kilo gibi çok hafif bir dış cephe malzemesi kullandık ama bir yandan da yapının içindeki ahşap elementleri dışarıdan görülebilmesi adına bir şeffaflık da sağlamaya çalıştık diyor.
So you go inside, that is very light building as I told. It has only 50% of heaviness of normal building, only 50% of outputting energy, CO2. So it is very, very friendly building because it's light, simple and pragmatic outside.
Normal bir yapının %15'i kadar ağırlığa sahip olduğundan bahsetti. Oldukça çevreye duyarlı, çevre dostu bir yapı olduğunu söyledi.
But you can see already outside this big entrance, this big loggia. So you can think already inside happens something more. And that is exactly what was in my drawing. Very pragmatic outside and very elaborated inside.
Aslında dışarıdan bakıldığında çok basit bir yapı gibi görünürken içeri girdiğinizde oldukça kompleks bir takım gizli alanların olduğunu hissedebiliyorsunuz yapıda. Aslında ilk çizimi de tamamen bunu yansıtmakmış. Yani dışarıdan çok basit görünen ama içeride farklı materyallerle birlikte o derinliği ve çeşitliliği hissedebildiğimiz bir bina.
And that is what my drawing shows. Inside it should be like firework. It should be like a middle point, like a heart of the building where the people are connecting, where the people are speaking, sitting, working, living. And it should be, in this case, much more interesting as to work home.
So this building for all office building, right?
Yeah, it is all office building. By Vattenfall, it's big energy deliverer.
Bütün yapı bir ofis binası. Temelde içeride yapmak istediği şey herkesin birbiriyle konuştuğu, etkileşim içinde olduğu, özellikle yapının iç merkezinde bir araya gelebildiği alanlar oluşturmakmış.
So you come inside and you see that became to be very unpragmatic. Because we are saved, so we can do more or less what we like.
Now I understand. So sorry. Like at this point I understood everything. Dışarıda binanın dışından tasarruf edilen, özellikle ağırlık, cephedeki elementlerden tasarruf edilen bütün her şeyi içeride aslında tam tersi bir anlayışla şimdi dışarıda bütün her şeyi tasarruf ettik. Artık içeride biraz kompleks elementler kullanabiliriz mantığıyla içeride oldukça çeşitlilik yaratmaya çalışmışlar.
But we are still very light. Our construction for the roof is very light, only 45 kilo per square meter. All these elements as steel and timber hybrid elements are also very light. Staircases are also very light. We use so less material as we can. That's the main point. Not everywhere wood, but everywhere very light. To be very light. To make less for the same structure problems.
Bütün yapıda en hafif malzemeleri kullanmaya çalışmışlar. Özellikle tavanı taşıyan ve merdiveni taşıyan çelikler dahil olmak üzere hepsi ahşap, çelik, hibrit bir takım materyallerle olabildiğince hafif yapılmaya çalışmış. Temel fikir de buydu zaten.
And also the roof itself, made as a foil construction, is very light. It's like a half of glass construction, of glazing construction, and very good cleanable, and very good safety protection for the sun. So you can go with a middle layer upstairs and make the sun protection bigger, or you go in the middle and make sun protection lower, depending from the time, winter or summer, day or night.
So the roof is changeable.
They're movable. The air would be supplied through the tubes, and the middle layer goes up
with
or down.
Air. It
with
changes
air.
with
air.
Tavanda yine çok hafif bir sistem kullanmışlar. Özellikle de farklı güneşin farklı geliş açılarına göre tavanın şekli de
This is
değişebiliyor.
tubes by air, with air.
Tüplerle birlikte hava üfleyerek tavandaki camın farklı açılara gelmesini sağlamışlar.
So, in this case, we are light. So, the tubes are going in and supplying air. We are light. We are easygoing, and we are unpragmatic inside and pragmatic inside. That's the idea.
Yani burada da aslında yine bütün strüktürün olabilecek en tasarruflu şekilde üretilmesini, en az malzeme kullanarak üretilmesini ve bunun tam tersi bir yaklaşımla da şimdi içeriden bahsedecek.
And in this case, we became a lovely place where the people are very much with their heart to be there, to work there, to stay there, to eat there, and that is the aim we need, because otherwise the people stay home.
Çok insanların sevebileceği bir iç mekan yaratmaya çalışmışlar. Yemek yiyecekleri, çalışacakları, tam olarak evleri gibi hissedebilecekleri bir çalışma ortamı yaratmaya çalışmışlar.
And the next building I built, as a projected for the short time, it's just ready, is the next timber hybrid building, also the same big as before. And before is the DGNB platinum and GNB diamond, their highest levels of sustainability. DGNB is like LEED, but in German countries.
Bu yapısı henüz yeni tamamlanmış. Bir yeşil bina sertifikası, Almanya'daki bir yeşil bina sertifikasına en üst derecesine sahipmiş ve yine ahşap hibrit bir malzemeyle üretilmiş.
And this building, the next one, staying on the water, and that is also like urban fabric made by timber hybrid, with a very spectacular bridge between two buildings, made by timber hybrid. This bridge.
İki bina arasında yine ahşap alaşımlı bir kompozit malzemeyle birlikte bir köprü inşa etmişler bu iki bina arasında.
With the bridge, you give a possibility for the people going from the street to the embankment and back without any columns. What was important for the society who goes along the street, who goes along the river, to connect themselves.
Bu köprünün herhangi bir kolon olmadan taşınan bu köprünün temel amacı kentteki insanların kıyıyla iletişim kurmasını sağlamaktı.
And on the same time to make a lot of loggias, balconies, terraces to go to the river and to be together with the town and to work outside as inside.
Bir yapında da bir sürü teraslarla ve küçük farklı localarla aslında yine aynı şekilde kıyıyla ve suyla iletişimi binanın içinden de kullanmayı ve birleştirmeyi hedeflemişler.
It is also timber hybrid construction with CLT ceilings, partly with timber, partly with concrete, for the fire protection and also for the noise security. Safety, and on the same time with the vertical columns made by pressed wood, sliced wood.
Aynı anda Kirişleri ve kolonları da yine ahşap kullanarak hem ses yalıtımı hem de yine aynı şekilde ekolojik bir strüktür elde etmeye çalışmışlar.
So we make all building construction, and in the middle we have this bridge, and the bridge has this structure also with timber hybrid, what is very spectacular and looking, I hope, good out from outside, and giving this possibility 20 meters of free passing cross.
Bu ahşap taşıyıcılar, köprü için kullandıkları ahşap taşıyıcılar tamamen alt katı zeminini boşaltmak adına yapıldığını söyledi.
Here, like how construction looks out, and how the building inside looks out as a very lovely place to work. Also nearby from this very nice space dividers.
Bu kolonlar içeriden şu anda bu şekilde görünüyor. Bir çalışma alanı burası yine ve aslında alanda iyi bir bölücü olarak da çalıştığını söylüyor.
But in all, it is also like an energy factory. We have ice storage, we have geothermal heat pump, we have air heat pump, and we have solar energy. So the whole building is absolutely independent from outside. It works and it produces the energy for itself.
Binanın tamamen kendi enerjisini kendi içinde ürettiğini, bir takım buz depoları, zeminden ısıtmayla birlikte tamamen kendi içinde kendi enerjisini ürettiğini söylüyor.
So you see minimal technic equipments on the roof. You see a lot of solar
Panels.
photovoltaic panels, and you have huge terraces for people. So the roof is very flat, what is very good for the view over the building, because you don't see this huge mountains of technique. They are partly in the cellar, and they are partly very small, very kept very small, and so we have also the roof for people. They are sitting here and they are speaking in dialogue with the river, with the surrounding.
Bir takım teknik elementleri çatıdansa bodrum katta konumlandırmayı seçmişler. Hem güneş panellerinin hem de insanların yine suyla birlikte ilişki kurabileceği bir teras elde etmeye çalışmışlar.
So all in all, we have building what saves themselves quite pragmatic from the noise outside through this double skin facade, and goes to outside quite elaborated, where the outside is so spectacular, and also in the bridge, of course.
Aynı zamanda bir ses çift cidarlı bir yapıyla birlikte ses yalıtımını da bu şekilde sağladıklarını ve yine etraftan ses olarak da izole ettiklerini söylüyor.
And I show you also shortly the principle how the town goes with the problem to demolish something and to build something ecological. So this apartment building had to be demolished. That's another building.
Bu şimdi de bize bir yapının yıkıldıktan sonra nasıl enerji tasarruflu bir yapı inşa edilebileceğinden bahsedecek. Bu apartman yıkılmak üzere karar verilmiş.
It was not so handsome, but still the people could live there. That's why the town and me wanted to make a program like a win-win. What wins the town, what wins the developer.
Binada hala birileri yaşamaya devam ediyormuş. Çok iyi görünen bir bina olmamasına rağmen buradan en yüksek her iki taraf için de en yüksek faydayı sağlamak adına bir proje geliştirmeye karar vermişler.
So the building would be demolished, but the office building instead would be ecological as timber hybrid, and two living buildings are much more calm, much more saved from the noise, and they replaced all flats are inside. So all flats were here, moved in these flats, and also in the underground is very handsome studio for artists. So we make something for the town, and town makes something for us.
Yapmaya çalıştıkları şey bu alanda bir ofis eklentisiyle yaşayan insanları arkada beyaz olarak gördüğümüz konutları o iki bloğa taşıyıp ön tarafta hem bir ofis binası hem de bodrum katta bir sanatçıların zemin katlarda sanatçıların çalışabileceği bir takım alanlar oluşturarak aslında hem kent için, oradaki yaşayanların kent için bir şey yapmasını ve kentin de onlar için bir şey yapmasını sağladıklarını.
So you see social subsides artist studios. You have residential what remains the flats what were demolished in the old building of the 70s, and you have timber hybrid construction in front.
Konut binaları ve sanatçıların çalışma alanlarının nasıl konumlandığını gördük şu anda.
There is a deal like between town and private people how to keep the social aspects and still to build new.
Yani tasarımcılar, sanatçılarla kentte yaşayanların bir arada nasıl ilişki kurabileceklerini sağlamaya düşündük dedi.
There is the studios of artists or exhibition spaces we are under construction and we'll see how to do. And on top, of course, we have, as in the building, in the previous building, we have this solar factory and photovoltaic factory and spaces for people.
Yine çatıda bir önceki binada olduğu gibi düz bir alan yaratıp hem bir arada kullanabilecekleri hem de güneş panellerinin yerleşebileceği bir takım alanlar oluşturulmuş.
And we have still timber hybrid outside as inside.
Ahşap hibrit malzemeyi hem içeride hem dışarıda kullanmışlar.
With a bicycle space, what goes from outside, from inside, for people who are going not only with sport or with cars. We have some car spaces in the cellar, but also for the many people are going with bicycles.
Yani bir takım bisiklet binanın içinde bisiklet park alanları da oluşturulmuş. Çok fazla bisiklet kullanıldığını söyledi. O yüzden araç içinde bodrum katta park alanları oluşturulmuş.
But all in all, it is a deal between town and private. What I think in win-win situation, quite good thing, and yeah, it is what we make.
Hem kentte yaşayanlar hem de aslında sanatçılar için her iki tarafında kazançlı çıkabileceği bir alan yarattık diyor.
And the last capture is something about social integration, because social integration is very important part of our towns.
Kentlerimiz için çok önemli son başlık olarak da bir sosyal etkileşimden bahsedeceğini söyledi.
And the first sample is this small music hall for Waldorf School. It's a special schools with very big ecological aspect in the Magdeburg. This school was created by many steps, and this music hall is the last part of them. What is like a heart of this old space.
You designed whole.
No, I designed just a music hall, and that is from the German Democratic Republic times. That is from other very nice colleagues. Some buildings are used, and that is a last time, last element.
Bu bir Magdeburg'da yer alan bir özel okulun var olan bir özel okulun bahçesindeki müzik holünü onlar tasarlamış.
I integrated the building with the timber construction not only in the relief and on the language of Waldorf School. The language of Waldorf School is very nature close, and in this case, I set up this amphitheater in the hill.
Binanın kendisi de bir ahşap elementlerin oldukça kullanıldığı bir yapıdan oluştuğu için aynı şekilde onu bu müzik holünde de tasarlamaya çalışmışlar ve ana konser alanında da zemine oturtarak inşa etmişler.
The light comes from north, could be also blocked, and the elements of sitting going inside of the hill.
Yine aynı şekilde doğal eğimi kullanarak izleyicilerin oturduğu alanları da aynı şekilde doğal kuta oturtarak
with prefabricated timber elements and green roofs, and this overlight every step of the building.
Prefabrik şekilde inşa edilen bu ahşap elementlerle birlikte bir takım yeşil çatılar oluşturarak da doğal yapıyı korumaya devam ettirmişler.
So you see very handsome space inside, dominated by wood, but also dominated by relief of the hill, what was put inside.
Yine aynı şekilde içerisi tamamen ahşaptan oluşuyor ve doğal eğimi aslında bu kodlarla da görebiliyoruz. Değişen kodlarla.
Another one was a very small museum made by also by timber and clay. A small building of agricultural work in the village of Russia. What I wanted to make like a column, column created by timber and clay, and you go inside and you see the old elements of agricultural work, like a very small element what the people from the surrounding built with us. So it is like a product of creation of people of the surrounding. They were part of the construction team.
So inside the building,
inside the building is the agricultural elements of the old agricultural work. So the people are visiting this landscape festival. It is a big landscape festival with many elements of them, called Arstoyanie. It is one of them, but was built by the people of this village and by professionals, of course, in very short time. And you could come in, take a key, and look at the agricultural elements, how the people of agricultural labor working in the past.
Bu festival alanında geçmişteki tarım çalışanlarının, tarım işçilerinin aletlerini ve işte kullandığı bütün elementleri burada sergileyebilecekleri tamamen kilden ve ahşaptan oluşan ve doğanın içinde bir kolon olarak görünen, yani uzaktan yalnızca bir kolon olarak görünebilen ve kilden olması da ve ahşap olması da aynı zamanda bir tarımın elementlerini kullanarak aslında orada bir yapı inşa etmeyi, çok küçük bir müze, ufak bir sergi alanı inşa etmeye çalışıyor.
You smells like clay, you smells like timber, and you has a connection with the history.
Hem aynı şekilde zaten kil ve ahşap kokuyor ve geçmişle bu şekilde de bir bağ kurmaya çalışmışlar.
And the last project I show is my museum. It was grounded for architectural drawings because I love architectural drawings, as you understood. And the architectural drawings I exhibited there in many exhibitions. That's my first drawing as a beginning of this museum.
So this is your museum.
It is my foundation. It's my foundation where the exhibitions of architectural drawings already since 12 years are working.
Toplamda onların 12 yıldır yaptıkları bütün projeleri ve özellikle çizimleri sergiledikleri bir mimari çizim sergi müzesi olarak tasarladıkları bir yapı burası.
The drawings are also imprinted in the surface, like a rubber matrices, and that are the copies of Italian draftsmen. I love very much. They were the first pieces of my collection.
Bu kendi eskizlerinden bu üç eskizi de binanın cephelerine aplike etmişler.
The museum is staying like a small contrastful building to the historical surrounding of brewery, also the same place as the one brewery shown already, similar. And that is like a small gem finished this line of the historical walls.
Yine tarihi bir alanda bu yapı ve aynı şekilde diğer projeleri gibi tarihi yapılardan bir kontrast içinde, bir zıtlık içeriyor.
It has library and two exhibition space, archive and office. Like a boxes going over each other, like a boxes for saving drawings.
Üst üste küpler olarak, kutular olarak işte bir kütüphane, iki tane de sergi alanından oluşan bir yapı.
You have like a pieces of paper with imprinting of drawings going over each other, and sometimes they collect themselves in such a collection of drawings, collection of pieces, and it is imprinted in concrete.
Aslında bunların her bir parçası bir kağıt metaforu soyutlaması olarak da görünebilir. Bazı yerlerde kağıtlar daha çok bir araya geliyor, sıkışıyor. Bazı yerlerde kağıtlar açılarak eskizleri ortaya koyuyor cephede.
These are rubber matrices improved inside of the concrete forms. And that is the atmosphere inside. We are quite crowded there. for 2 days or for 3 days we had an opening of the next exhibition that is a very warm space inside, also with a printing of drawings but in wood.
İçeride de aynı şekilde ahşaba kazınmış şekilde çizimler görebiliyoruz. Kendisinin 2-3 gün önce yeni bir sergisi de burada açılmış ve görülmeye devam ediyormuş.
You see, I like mirrors because it makes space bigger.
Aynalar koyarak daha büyük gösterdiğini söyledi.
And inside you have a very lovely atmosphere with exhibiting of many different. There were Stephen Hall and Alvarez, he's already there, Tom Main and Peter Cook and Alexander Brodsky and Mark Fisher is a great stage designer, unfortunately not under us, and heritage of Aldo Rossi and Alvar Aalto. So many great persons and great names, but also historical museums like Albertina, like Victoria and Albert, like Drawing Matter, making here exhibitions in our spaces with our curating.
Birçok ünlü mimarın farklı yapısının eskizlerinin de burada sergilendiğini ve sürekli olarak farklı mimarlar için değiştiğini söyledi.
And we have tried to create all elements till the door levers in the same sense as the buildings itself. So to make like a Gesamtkunstwerk, like a line through the building.
Binanın her yerinde cephedeki o kağıtların bir araya gelişi, eskizlerin bir araya gelişinin metaforunu göstermeye çalışmışlar. Kapı kollarında filan da böyle bir takım çizgisel elementler yaratmaya çalışmışlar.
But also the skin of the building is sometimes a screen for installations of light installations where the forms of the building are connecting with this, for example, installation by Ilya Kabakov, the angel going flying.
Cephede bazı ışık enstalasyonlarıyla birlikte sürekli olarak yaşamaya devam ediyor farklı tasarımcıların.
So that's the last one. Thank you very much.
Çok teşekkürler.
And yeah, maybe I'll go there and answer your questions if you don't mind.
Soru cevap kısmına geçebiliriz.
Efendim merhaba. Soru cevap öncesi çok kısa bir şey söylemek istiyorum. Sergei Tchoban'ın nasıl burada ve benimle olan ilişkisini kısaca anlatmak istiyorum. Ben Profesör Doktor Alper Çolak, mimar değilim. İstanbul Üniversitesi Cerrahpaşa yeni adıyla Orman Fakültesi öğretim üyesiyim. Şimdi efendim benim kızım İstanbul Mimarlık Fakültesi İç Mimarlık öğrencisi. Staj yapmak için yurt dışında yer aradı. Bunlardan bir tanesi ve en başta liste hazırlamış Sergei Tchoban'ın firmasını buldu. Şimdi benim tabii öğretim olarak ilk sorum, yani doğru seçim mi acaba? Doğru yere mi gidiyorsun? Başka firma yok mu? Niçin bu? İşte bugünkü toplantının konusu buradan geliyor. Baba kesinlikle doğru. Çünkü kendisine ait bir müze var. Müzenin adı mimarlıkta çizimler ya da çizimlerle düşünmek diye bir müzesi var. Sonra bunlarla ilgili çok sayıda kitabı var. Hata olabilir mi dedi. Sonra çıktı gitti staj yapmaya. Evet, dönüşte dediği şey hiç yanılmamışım. Kendisine ben bizleri kırmayıp bu bilgileri bizlerle paylaşması için ilk önce Sayın Ahmet Bey'e, yani Mimarlık Odamızın genel sekreteri yanlış söylemiyorsam, söylediğimizde tabii ki büyük bir zevkle dedi. Kendisi de bizi destekledi. Onun için ben iki kuruma teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Birincisi Sergei Tchoban'ı bizi kırmayıp buraya geldiği için. İkincisi Ahmet Bey'e kapılarını bizlere açtığı için çok teşekkür ederim efendim. Evet, İstanbul Şubesi. Evet, çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Yeah, so, if you have some questions, I would answer with pleasure. If not, also good. Maybe for people.
İsmim Neriman, and thank you for coming and for this inspiring presentation. I had chance to visit your museum also in Berlin, and it's also great to me to experience. I have two questions. I try to merge both of them. One of them is actually it would be great to see the process of your sketch, at the beginning of your sketch and the final sketch and the results. It would be nice to see this progress for the one building, for the exact project. The other issue is I really wonder that I know when we sketching, there's a spirit in this sketch. Sketch is a visual expression, but when we sketch to design for the process of the design, at the end of the design, there's a result, the construction one, and the experience of the people, persons. I wonder that how it feels to see sketch to construction and it works on people's experience. How you see this maybe transformation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, there are a lot of questions, like a complex. Also, first of all, as I understood, you would know how I sketch, just to see how I sketch, yeah? Also, I have my Instagram, Sergei Tchoban, and you see there, since short time, because somebody, young student of us, were coming to me and told your Instagram is completely boring. We should make something else. We should show how you sketch. And because if they see already the drawing as a result, they say, okay, it is maybe great, maybe not, but it is a result and nobody understands what happens. So we film you and you sketch, and I made the first film where I sketch a drawing and explain about my position in the architecture, what's the language of now, a language of past, how they connect or disconnect each other, and so on and so on. If you like one day to see my sketch like a progress, of course, we can make theoretically this a live experience or live installation. For example, in Barcelona, I will make between 17th and 20th of October, I will have in the pavilion of Mies van der Rohe, I will make a big installation, like a drawing what is 1.30 meters high and like a 5 meters long. I draw like in situ the history, how the language of Mies van der Rohe was connected with the language of other heritage, like Villa Katsura, for example, in Japan, and so on and so on. So that is like a line you can follow, because in Barcelona in this day is a festival of sketchers. So the sketchers all over the world, they were coming, and pavilion of Mies van der Rohe has to create also some event, and this event is me, so I draw there, and the people are coming and maybe drawing also.
Siz de ben özetleyebilirim.
And if you mean that you like to see the progress of my sketches to the project, so there is a progress, of course, but normally it is not like I sketch and sketch and sketch and sketch, but I make initial drawings, initial sketches, and then I continue with corrections. So I don't sketch every time to every position, then you sketch. I sketch one, and then I correct the drawings to be closer to the sketch. And in this case, of course, I follow the construction work and correct them, and the sketch is still like an icon, you should come to this space.
Can I add one thing to explain before?
Sure. Maybe çok pardon, belki Türkçe özetleyebilirseniz.
I prefer
Okay, I
English
will.
to reach
Of course,
well.
sure.
Maybe if I cannot, I can say it in Turkish, because it's thinking with drawings. You know, design is a process. There is a preliminary sketch, the final sketch. In the process, we have several sketches. I just wondered that from the beginning of the conceptual design and the maybe final detailed design, there's a progress. Maybe there is a several different design. The first sketch isn't will be maybe the final design approach. I just wondered that, but this explanation is also okay.
To be friendly.
I'm so sorry. Maybe I should just sum up everything. İlk başta bir eskizin oluşum sürecinden bahsediyor. Bir eskizi tamamen bir sürü farklı eskiz olarak değil de bir tane ana eskiz, ardından onun daha olgun bir hale gelmesi ve aslında en sonunda ne görmek istediğini başta o eskizde gördüğünü söylüyor.
Look, for example, this sketch I made, and that's very frankly 2010, and I even didn't know the exactly size of the lot. There is really a sketch of 2010, and the 2009 to 2010, and beginning of permission process was 2010. That is not a lie. It is really the first sketch.
This is a technical drawing almost.
That is not technical drawing.
It's not,
It is like a drawing I made. I was in mountains with my wife. My wife was in mountains skiing, and I was sitting home because I hate skiing, and I was sitting there and drawing that drawing in the Meribel is in France. So
Bu çizimi yaparken binanın boyutlarını bile tam olarak tam doğru şekilde eskizde önceden çizdiğini, tam olarak aynısını oluşturmayı hedeflediğini.
this drawing I made like to the end of permission process, so 1 year later, and told now I had also some smaller drawings, but are not so handsome like a sketchbook drawings, but that drawing is like a going between permission and working drawing process. That's one, and up to them it became to be this.
So in these two sketches there has been 1 year, right?
Yes, like this. So 1.5 years, like this. So it means you make a lot of sketches in between, what are not so representable, or they may be representable, but it would be a whole speech only of sketches of one project. But there is a distance like between them and them. For example, by this one, I made just one. So I explained what I explained here. I explained that is I named it Russian order. What is Russian order? It's simplification of classic. You know, that is old Russian church. I show old Pskov that everybody knows what aim we go to. That is our beloved constructivism. Zuev Club of Moscow, what Corbusier told, I would love to have it in my portfolio, but it's by Golosev, you know. The same as these, yes. And I told that is Russian order. So like very simple and square over round, and it makes amazing space inside. That is one idea how it was in the build by Ivan Fomin, who is a founder of Red Doric, beginning of 20th century. So simplification of classic. He was big neoclassical, but simplified classic. And this way from that, from this, over this to this. That is all explained in the drawing, and that is point. 2015 for beginning of construction. And then it is.
Bu bina için örneğin sadece bir eskiz yapmış, ondan bahsetti. Bu eskizin adı, ya binanın adı da klasik anlamına geliyor, kelime anlamı olarak. Bu eski bir Rus kilise yapı inşa anlayışının aslında oldukça basitleştirilmiş, tek bir şekilde, tek bir eskizle ifade edilebilir hale getirilmiş halinin yapıyı anlattığını söyledi.
That is more or less how it goes, you know. And sometimes it's a drawing like here. It is a in between. Is it in between? It is not the beginning. Mm-hmm. The beginning was 2020. It is in between. Like I discuss with myself what I do, why, and what happens. That is not a beginning drawing. That is a drawing what summarize ideas what are already in the working drawings process in the same time.
Bu eskiz örneğin bazen eskiz süreci yapının teknik çizimlerinden önce çizerken bunu bir yandan da tasarım devam ederken oluşturmuş. Özellikle de binanın etrafıyla birlikte nasıl görüneceğini kendisiyle tartışabilmek için.
Where I point just once more what is important in this building, because of course in the working progress you have to spare money, you have to answer the questions why we do it so complicated. Let's do it simpler. And I also make a simplification of ideas, and with 2 drawings I explain all building. To give to everybody the idea why it is so and not other.
Bazen de binanın sadece en önemli kısmını, özellikle yapıyı neden inşa ettiğini anlatabilmek adına çiziyorum. Çünkü herkesin bizim bu yapıyı tam olarak ne için inşa ettiğimizi, ana fikrini anlaması için bir kesit olarak sunum parçası haline getiriyormuş.
Hello. Thank you for inspiring speech. Excuse me. This is Selin Yıldız from Yıldız Technical University. I see your drawings. I see your fantasy drawings actually about art. I'm asking a question about art. Where do you put art in transforming an abstract into concrete? Let's say transforming something into something, transforming the idea. Let's say, where do you put art in it? What is your opinion about considering art in architecture?
Well, I just opened the day before yesterday Quai-Spec-Hector Museum in Moscow. It is a big private collection, like 12,000 square meters, going over 5 floors. With very inspiring spaces inside, but also with very inspiring loggia, as between space, between inside and outside. And this loggia, I wanted to have like a part of the town, as like a loggia in Italy. You know, it is already part of the building, but still not a building. So, and I have thought what kind of art I can bring there. It is art museum, but it's still not art in museum. It is art of building. What kind of art I can bring inside to give the idea it is still, this loggia is still part of the public space. And I decided to give to 4 street art artists escalators and lifts to paint them like a graffiti. And they made it. And I would say the experience was amazing. I cannot show it to everybody, but I show it to you because I have it only on my phone, and I'm sorry, but I show it to you what I mean, because I think it is very, very, very interesting how the space going, this picture, how the space going lovely between art and architecture. You know what I mean, yeah? Oh yeah, that is like a part of that you make architecture with art. You make because, for example, I love street art, and I think street art makes the building not old on you. It gives the chance to live. And if I think you can put a part of art inside of the building or outside of the building to give to the building another role as a public space, it would be nice.
Hocam ben mi çok kısa özetleyeyim? Özetleyeyim mi? Yani sanatla mimarlığı nasıl, yani sanatı nasıl mimarlığın içinde gösteriyorsunuz diye sormuştu hocam. Özetle örneğin son açtığı sergide bir sanat müzesiydi orası. 4 tane sanatçıya, grafiti sanatçısına yürüyen merdivenleri ve asansörleri verip onları üzerlerine çizim yaptırarak aslında bir şekilde dahil ettiğini, yani binanın da bir sanat eseri olarak ifade edilebileceğini bu şekilde söyledi.
Ben Türkçe söyleyeyim, siz
Hocam,
tercüme edin, öyle yapalım, herkes anlasın. Öncelikle teşekkürler sunumu için. Şimdi ben yüksek lisansımı mimari temsiller üzerine yaparken kendisinin yapılarını ve çalışmalarını incelemiştim. Orada baktığımızda bu yeniden kullanım, reuse konusunda sadece Almanya'da değil, Rusya'daki özellikle bu Sovyet döneminden kalma yapılarda çok fazla projesi var. Hatta bunları yaparken mimari temsilleri bunların cephelerinde uygulamak gibi bir yola da gitmiş. Kendisinin aşağı yukarı tanımlayabileceğimiz bir mimarisi oluştu. Benim soracağım soru şu: Sergei Tchoban kendisinin geçmişine baktığında mimarisini oluştururken doğup büyüdüğü St. Petersburg'un bu onu çevreleyen mimarisini mi ön plana koyar? Yoksa o St. Petersburg'da aldığı klasik mimari eğitimini mi koyar? Yoksa 90'ların başında Almanya'ya gidip orada üreten bir mimar olarak çalışmasını mı mimarlığın bugüne gelmesinde temel faktör olarak yerleştiriyor?
As your architectural background, you born in St. Petersburg, and there were a surrounding around you. So, what was your main character of architecture? The where you born and the place, or your architectural education, or your after you lived somewhere else? So, what actually created your architectural understanding during this process?
Look, that's a very good question, but I would understand my birthday town, Petersburg, like a collection of mise-en-scènes, collection of theater stages, you know? Because there's nothing there original. Everything is already repeated, but make like a big stages, but not in the theater, but in the life. And every citizen is like an actor of these big theater stages.
Rekonstrüksiyondu değil mi tamamı oranın? O yüzden mi öyle?
Eğitim yüzünden sürekli aynı şeyleri tekrar edelim.
It is only the first part of the answer, but
It's
would
fine.
you
Yes,
would you
I
like
will.
to
Yes, I will.
translate,
I will.
or would I go?
I will actually, it'll be great. Doğduğu yerdeki bütün yapıların aslında hiçbir şeyin gerçekten orada eskiden beri var olmadığını, her şeyin bir aslında bir tiyatro sahnesi gibi zaten yeniden üretilmiş bir alan olduğunu ifade ediyoruz.
That's why I am educated from my birthday town, from Petersburg. Not like I would like to build classic, but I would like to build mise-en-scènes. I would like to build stages. And stages could be different for every town and for every situation. One stage cannot be similar to another one. That's why my architecture is not like a similar architecture. What I find is great if many very big architects, they make architecture what is very recognizable. My architecture is not so much recognizable as a language, but it's maybe a little bit recognizable as every time a stage. So you are like inside of the small theater what was made with my architecture.
Kendi mimarlık anlayışının tıpkı doğduğu yerdeki gibi farklı sahneler yaratmak olduğunu, örneğin bazı çok ünlü mimarların binalarının evet hemen fark edilebilip onun yapısı olduğu anlaşılabiliyor. Belki benim de mimarlığım her yerde oraya özgü farklı bir takım sahneler yaratmak olduğunu bu şekilde ifade edebildiğini söylüyor.
For example, you see, without this building, it was like a chaos of many different things. But with this building, it became suddenly to be a stage, to be like a mise-en-scène. You know what I mean? So, or maybe I go, for example, for this one, for very first one, it was like without. Yeah, we can do on this picture. So exactly, yeah, you're very kind.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
I think
Okay.
it doesn't. I think it doesn't go this way. But we are now in the beginning. We come faster to the point. So that was made before all this was began.
Yeah.
And without these three buildings, what are very heavy and very really very robust, and it is very very strong and very risky thing with making these three similar buildings. And to accent this very small one with three big ones. In this mise-en-scène, for example, the main actor is this. And it was not the main actor before, and it became the main actor after. You understand what I mean, yeah? And that is very hard, of course, very hard point, but it became to be. I've been yesterday there, and you stay on this square, it became to be square, and you see these three colossus, and you see this element is the main point. And that is like a stage, but it's not classic and not Petersburg, you know. But it's every time a mise-en-scène of a one theater stage, you know. And of course, I made in Petersburg also Nevsky City Hall, the big complex around of City Hall of Petersburg. what is quite classic. It's contemporary, but it makes, or it is really very classical square. You know, with colonnades, with a huge colonnade, what it photographed a lot. But there is not every time the same. Every time the same, this mise-en-scène, these theater stages, what Petersburg has enough of, you know? And that is a way I go from these stages to my stages. That was I was educated from my town. Not language, but this language of stages.
Bunu özetlemek istiyorum. Örneğin bu her yerde farklı bir takım tiyatro sahneleri yaratma fikri burada şu şekilde yer alıyor. Bu üç bina aslında bu öndeki eski fabrika binası bu sahnenin ana karakteri ve diğer karakterler daha sonradan buraya eklenmiş. Daha baskın görünmeye çalışıyorlar ama yine de bu öndeki yapı aslında bu sahnenin ana karakteri olmaya devam ediyor. O ağırlığın zıttına çalışması ve aslında hepsinden daha önce orada var olmasıyla. Dolayısıyla özetle kendi mimarlık dilinin tıpkı burada olduğu gibi bir takım farklı sahneler yaratmak olduğunu söylüyor.
Thank you. Yeah, please, you're the next.
Thank you very much. This is Rüksan Tuna. We are very happy to have you here, and it's an honor. I just want to ask you different questions. I did admire your ecological approach, and in the building that's made of wood, the office building, you have shown some ice storage to cool the building.
Yeah.
Is that oft usage of technology? I see the first time.
We had the existing channels inside of the ground of this historical harbor. And we had a question how to use them. And we put this ice storage inside of the existing channels. If we wouldn't have them, it would be too expensive. But as far we had it already as a space, we could put it inside.
I see. Çevirir misiniz? Çevireyim mi?
Çok iyi olur.
Sorum ekolojik yaklaşımı üzerineydi. Gösterdiği o ahşap ofis binasında binayı soğutmak üzere buz deposu kullandı. O zaten cevabı da o şekilde oldu. Bulunduğu yerdeki nehrin içine gömdükleri için. Yani Türkiye'de suyla su ısı pompalarını kullanıyoruz, biliyoruz. Bunu ilk defa gördüğüm için sormak istedim teknik olarak. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So please.
Mr. Tchoban, first of all, thank you very much for your very inspiring presentation. My question will be about your creativity process or your creative process. You are an architect perceived as putting your drawing practice very central to your design process. And as far as I see, the Museum of Tchoban Foundation is heavily inscribed with this, and it's also marked with that. But if we go to the chapters like reuse or social integration, and because they have really strong affinity to reality as well, they have really strong affinity to real life problems as well. Where do you put your drawing activity in terms of your creative life? I mean, are you designing your buildings as stages because you're an architect heavily relying on your drawing practice, or in other words, are they representations of your architecture, or is your architecture an architecture of representation?
Let me say follow. I try with my drawings to be in love with what I see, you know. And if firstly it is not very lovely mise-en-scène, with my drawings I try to love it. And through my drawing to try to love it, I try to understand why I should reuse and should keep such a buildings, you know. Because if I love only this world, I would demolish every modernity, you know. So I try with my drawing to become the love with also these. I draw even it's very difficult for me and for everybody, I would say, to draw contemporary architecture or modern architecture. It's extremely difficult. It is extremely easy to draw this architecture. You can be wrong, you can be right, it looks lovely. But if you draw this architecture, you should be right. If you are wrong, it looks terrible, you know? And if you go to this architecture, okay, you should be in love with this to try to save it, okay? And it goes only through the drawing. That is my creativity in this case, you know? You should move yourself to this love to say, okay, please, save them. Otherwise, we would stay after 19th century, wasted over. But it's not a way. So I try through my drawing to love them, and I hope I get it.
So in other words, the drawing part is also part of your research process in
research,
in
but also to be in love with what I do. It is research is quite cool and very intellectual, but I think our job is not so intellectual.
your exploration process.
Yeah, exploration process, exploration of myself. You know, it is a way.
I don't mean scientific research per se.
Yeah. It is like a way to myself to say, stop. Maybe it looks terrible, but try to draw it once more. Maybe it's still handsome. You know. That's the point. You know, I was coming, for example, to Corbusier unit in Marseille. I looked at it and told, okay, yeah, and then I was every week with one drawing or two drawings to draw this Marseille unit, you know, to understand at least what is nice in it. And I was, for example, very proud as Corbusier Foundation wanted to have this drawing in their collection because they told, oh, that is just not only just sketches as everybody, but somebody tries to understand what is nice in Corbusier. I tried it really with all my power. I was sitting in South France every day and made drawing after drawing, this roof with this chimney elements, with this quite complex roof sculptures, quite complex legs in the ground floor, with this reliefs, with modulor on the floor, on the wall, and I tried just to understand what is beauty in it. And we need to do it because it's not so simple way. If you draw Parthenon, you know, everybody knows it's beauty. Okay, but by these things, you have to be extremely stressed to understand what is beauty. It gets, but not immediately, you know. And that is the drawing process.
Thank you very much.
Ben çok kısaca özetleyebilirim. Teşekkür ederim. Siz sorunuzu belki Türkçe söylerseniz daha iyi olur.
Şimdi beni öncelikle ilgilendiren şey çizimin bu yaratıcı sürecin içerisinde nerede yer aldı? Yani müzeye baktığınız zaman müzenin çizim tarafından belirlendiğini görüyorsunuz. Çizimin belirleyiciliğinde biçimlenmiş bir bina olduğunu görüyorsunuz. Ama reuse, social integration gibi başlıklara geldiğiniz zaman orası daha çok gerçek hayat sorunlarıyla ve daha çok teknik sorunlarla da yüzleşen binalara dönüşüyorlar. Ve ben şunu merak ettim. Acaba çizim etkinliği, yani çizim etkinliğini merkeze alan bir mimar olarak Bay Tchoban'ın etkinliği, yaratıcı etkinliği çizim tarafından ne kadar belirleniyor? Ne kadar belirleniyor derken acaba çizdiği şey mimarlığı mı tasvir ediyor yoksa yaptığı mimarlık çizim tarafından mı tasvir ediliyor? Benim için ilginç olan şey buydu. O da kapsamlı bir cevap verdi. Onu tercümanımıza bırakıyorum.
I'm also an architect, by the way.
That was very helpful.
Yeah, I think so.
Özür dilerim.
Hiç önemli değil. No worries. Çok özetle çok özetle aslında kendi çizimlerini o alanı sevmek için çizdiğini söyledi. Çünkü her şeyin içinde özellikle bana kalsa yani çoğunu yıkardım zaten buradaki modern yapıların ama biraz uğraşmak ve sürekli çizerek belki içinde bir güzellik bulurum ve onu severim diye çok uğraşıyorum. Böylece bu şekilde onları yıkmamaya kendimi ikna edip belki üzerinde bir şeyler yapabilirim diye aslında kendim orayı sevmek için, o alanı, o binaları sevebilmek için çiziyorum eskizleri dedi.
Türkçe soracağım, herkes anlasın. Bay Tchoban bir tasarım yapıyor, çizgiyle bir tasarım yapıyor. Ama sonuçta yapıya dönüşmüş konuyla ilgili söylüyorum. Yoksa bir yere bakıp yaptığı resmi söylemiyorum. Bu ortadaki gerçeklerle yapı gerçekleştiği zaman ne kadar amacına ulaştığını hissediyor. Onu öğrenmek istiyorum.
How is your feeling about you draw things for not the existing the drawings, but you made the drawings and it became a building. What do you feel about this for the drawing part and the building became a building? Do you feel that your first aim when you draw the sketches became reality? What do you think about this process?
Yes, I would say so. Of course, not by every building, because I built, unfortunately, a lot. but I have big office. But by some buildings, I show to you, I have a feeling, and that is very clear. I show that is the initial drawing, and that is the result. And I would believe the result is somehow in the strong connection with the first drawing. As I have this feeling. Otherwise, for example, for this new city hall, it's not in the presentation, but for the new city hall, I made just 2 initial drawings, just the beginning of competition. It was big international competition. And now, after 20 years, long life of construction, this all complex is now ready with public space, with all these colonnades and buildings and so on. And I have a feeling it became to be that. Not exactly, of course. The form of cupola is a little bit other. The proportions are slightly moved. But I have a feeling we are there. Yes, that is my feeling. It would be, of course, pity if I would draw something and after that some kind of box would come out and I say, unfortunately not happened. But no, I try to do that, and in some points I get a feeling it is. Yes.
Çoğu binası için ve çoğu yapının çoğu kısmı için bunun gerçekleşebildiğini hissettiğini söyledi. Özellikle de son bir yapısından bahsetti. İlk yarışma açıldığında 2 tane çizim üzerinden ilerlemişti. 20 yıl sonunda inşa edilebildi. Şu anda yeni bitti. Çok uzun bir süre ama onun içinde gerçekleştiğini söyleyebilirim diyor. Yani çoğunlukla böyle hissediyor.
My name is Abbas Hacı Ömeroğlu. First of all, I want to thank you for your very nice and inspiring presentation, Mr. Tchoban. As a few friends have mentioned, I came here also to find a different speech, the context of the speech. That is, thinking with drawing, you said. I expected to hear a progress of design, a progress of how a creative thinking is affected by your drawings. You have very nice buildings, and you have interesting elements in all of these. For instance, the passage looking inside the building, showing the old buildings behind, the staircase, the interesting winding staircase, and so on. Has any of these been inspired to you through within the stage of your drawings? You know, here we have seen only the final stage of your drawings.
No, it is not final sketch. That is the point. It is really what I like to elaborate once more. Or you believe or not, that is a sketch coming like 1 year for beginning of construction site, so very, also 1.5 years, also quite early. For example, this sketch, also I tell you just very, very frankly, this very important sketch for me. Moment. Comes. So this sketch.
Yeah.
I had 6 alternatives.
How many?
6 alternatives of this
Yeah.
space. I come only with sketches. 2017, it is just the beginning. I come only with the sketches to a very great person, Kun van Ostrom, who is a founder of Edge, what is a great sustainability fighter on the development market from Netherlands. I come with the 6 different variants. I didn't show it all, but that's one of the very first.
Yes.
With these I begin.
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Maybe if you had shown us the previous sketches,
It is previous sketch. It was nothing previous.
one of them.
So you mean another alternatives?
The progress. I mean,
That is
that's
not a progress. It is like it was like 6 alternatives.
Yeah.
It is not a progress from one to other. It is just 6 alternatives.
Yes.
What I could possible for I found it possible to work in this atrium, and I discussed them with client, and me and client we agreed that would be the perfect one, and then 4 years later it was this. I find it similar. So all them it is just going. I mean maybe it looks like idiotic, but I have my first sketch sometimes, and then always it's going to the first sketch to realize them. And of course I can show you thousands of my sketches on top of drawings, on top of technical drawings, where I say no, it was that, and please do me a favor. Make this. But this was the first. And all my way after, I try to come to this first one. You see the roof is quite similar to what happened. Okay, it's crossed and not, but the dimensions, and as you see this for all of things, this element, this foil elements, and that and all these, it is a beginning. It is like it was like not even a concept there. We were in the stage 2 of German law of architects, so it is like a concept. It is a stage where you go 1 to 500 to 1 to 200. Also earlier cannot be. So it means I did with some alternatives and told that one we do now, and all my way was to realize this one.
Yeah.
That is really what. That's why of course I can show you, and you are completely right, and thank you very much for your words at all. I can show you then the way. But before these drawings was nothing. It was like I made first the sketch of space, and on this sketch of space I made 5 or 6 variants. I could show it to you, but they were not previous and after. They were in the same time. And also the same. You made it on the great way. For example, this. For example, this. That is also very early. I created this bridge,
Yes.
and that is the bridge, and that is the bridge. To be frankly, it is very similar, and that is a way. Maybe if I would go another way and to say it's bad, I make better. But I'm maybe stupid to say that is, we do it now. And that's why the evaluation and the progress between sketches and what happens after, it's maybe interesting to see, but maybe even still a little bit boring, I don't know, because it is like a, no, not left but right, look the first sketch, so ungefähr. That's the way. And in this case, it is showable. You can show it, but I mean that is what happens. I have my first sketch and say, as by museum, for example, it was like exactly what I told, because they say to me, it is like too less space for, because I wanted to make this one transparent from one point to other, and now it is not so. Now it is L form, and that is only one difference. But to believe, I was sitting in this very boring Meribel and was stacking these boxes, you know.
Yes,
and after
yes.
I drawn these boxes, I told it is extremely boring. Let me paint on it some drawings. It was exactly in the drawing, and after that I only researched how to paint them inside of concrete. But I did it not like by going around, by thinking. I was just drawing, and with my hand, I thought, okay, yes, contemporary but boring. Let's make drawing on top. And that was an idea. And after that, we had no sketch more. It was just a way how to get the people in to make these drawings inside of this concrete structure, what was completely complicated and very, very expensive, to be frankly. But we did it. Yes. And it was not a point of 100 drawings, it was a point of this one first drawing. And this drawing was the first of 4. I made a line of 4 drawings in the same, like in 3 days. But other drawings are more abstract. They are not so passful to real idea. But this first one was a passful, and I remember myself very clear. I was sitting these empty boxes, and I told, yeah, very contemporary, but very boring. Maybe some ideas more, and I go, maybe I do some drawings on top. And that's all. And that is the progress. Inside of one drawing is all progress.
Yes, of course, I understand you very well, but just if you had shown in one example of this process, that would be okay.
Yeah, good. Next time, but to be frankly, now difficult to correct. But to be frankly, I tried to do them, but and I found it's a little bit boring. I can explain it, and you elaborate it very, very strong, and I think it's very, very good to go so much inside of this point. But it has also something to do with my way of thinking. I am thinking by drawing of one drawing and not by drawing of 100 drawings. You know, I am thinking not from one drawing to another, to third, to fourth. I just take this drawing. Maybe it's big mistake of mine. I don't know, but it's me. I make one drawing and then make in this drawing what I like, and then all line of realization of this project, I try to come to this drawing. You know.
Yeah,
and
of
in
course.
this case, it's only one. What is significant, and the way, in fact, from this first one even to this one is not so spectacular that I would say, oh, it happens. Sorry, it happens a lot. It happens so much that I have to borrow you with explaining. You know, this explanation. It is really. Yeah, let's say not enough spectacular what happens from point 1 to point 100. And in between, I have of course some drawings what are even less different to the first one. And that is like a way. So.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's.
For example, this one. I did this after the first discussion with town planning department, where we explain that should stay, that should stay also. That's why this cantilever goes here to the end, and this wall should connect. And after that, more or less all way, we try to realize this idea to bring them to this realization. That's what I mean.
özetleyebiliriz. Belki siz sorunuzu önce Türkçe...
Thank you.
Siz sorunuzu Türkçe olarak özetleyebilirseniz belki çok özetle anlatabiliriz.
Sorduğum şuydu. Yani buraya ben gelirken yani çizimi, tasarımı arkadaşımızın sorduğu gibi nasıl etkileyip yönlendirdiğini konusunda bir sunum umarak gelmiştim. Burada o çizginin son bölümü vardı. Son bölümü vardı. Yani düşünürken basit bir grafik yaparsınız. O şey yapar, bir adım öne gidersiniz, bir adım öne gidersiniz, bir adım daha ilerlersiniz falan. Bir yerde şeye ulaşırsınız. Ben söylediğimin dışında bir şey daha söyleyeceğim parantez içinde. Yani bugün mesela benim ofisim var, uzun zamandır mimarlık ofisim. Yani yeni kuşak mimar öğrencilerde yani şeyi görüyorum, yani çizerek tasarım değil, direkt teknolojik araçlarla tasarım yapma eğilimi görüyorum. Yani o yüzden bu çok benim ilgimi çekmişti. Bunun ben aslında çok önemli olduğunu düşünüyorum. Yani çizerek zihinle el, yani yaratım arasında bir aracı olmamasının yaratımı daha hızlandırdığını düşünen eski kafalı bir mimarım belki, ama yani o anlamda bir şeyler yapmış olduğunu düşünerek gelmiştim, ama gene de tabii onu yaptığını söylüyor. Ama buradaki sunumunda onları şey yapmıyor. Sadece en son vardığı o sürecin sonundaki tasarımı anlattı bize.
Aslında çizim sürecini o
yaptığını söylüyor onları.
Evet.
Bir sürü eskizler, tasarımlar şey yaptığını. Konu buydu, bilmiyorum. Yani
Bence,
çok özetle.
Yani özetle verdiği yanıt da şuydu. Kendi çizim sürecinin o şekilde olmadığını, birinci draftinin, kendi ilk taslağının aslında son hali olduğunu, örneğin kendi müzesini gösterdi, bu kutu olanı. Ben açamadım şu anda ama kapandı yine. Örneğin ilk eskizde direkt olarak kendisinin o kutuları çizdiğini, sonra ona sıkıcı gelip o anda ilk eskiz üzerinde çalışırken bu gösterdiği, hatta şey dedi. Yani belki de bu benim eksiğimdir, bilemiyorum, ama böyle çalışıyorum ve ilk başta çizdiğim son hali oluyor. Örneğin kutuların ilk başta çizip sıkıcı olduğunu kendim fark edip sonra üstüne nasıl bu çizimleri ekleyebilirim ve insanları daha içeriye davet edebilirim diye düşündüm. Bir yapı içinde daha çok aslında bir çizimin son haline getirilerek değişmesindense, örneğin bir tanesi için 6 farklı bu şekilde alternatif ürettiğini, aslında bitmiş ürünler üzerinden kendisinin çalıştığını ve çizim dilinin bu şekilde olduğunu ifade etti. Ben de öyle anladım. Sizin diğer sorunuzu sorabiliriz belki öğrencilerdeki eğilim hakkında. He said the new architects, like the young architects and students, have intend to use some technical elements like the computers for drawing abstracts or something like that. So he thinks that this is old school kind of way sketching, but
No. It begins as a way. I show you one drawing. What I make, and after that, only artificial intelligence begins to draw. Then the drawing I make of one image. You draw information. And after that, only artificial intelligence. And that becomes back. Because it is much more simple as to go with computer. You know, it is a future. Because I go not already with the people together. This was some rich guy who makes his house in Slovenia. And he made it on this way. And I explained him with this drawing why he is wrong, because he closed himself to the sea, and so on and so on. It is one page, 60 to 80. I made on one evening. And that's all.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's all. And
Thinking
thinking process, yes. But now we will come to that because it is faster as to go to computer and draw them, because I draw on computer people and I see how unfast they are in opposition to these, and I'm much more faster and artificial intelligence.
Excuse me. You said unfast to this.
That is faster.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it became to be more perfect with computer in the past, but the future that no people are drawing more on computer. It will be no people. You know, people will only think. Elon Musk comes with a chip already end of this year to say you think and the book is already there. You know what that means. You think only about the book, and the book is already there. You draw still, and the drawing in the project is already there. That is our future. Not that we use some computers and that's Revit and plus and minus and so on. Over. We don't need it anymore. In 3 years you will see it. You say something to the computer and computer makes wrong. You draw to the computer and he makes right. That's it. You don't need to draw by yourself. You don't need to go. That is the point we are on the beginning. That's why the drawing will be more and more important, because the drawing like a speaking. Like a speaking.
Right. That's right.
If we don't speak, we don't express our thinking. If you don't draw, we don't express our thinking in architecture.
But if you don't have an idea, you can't speak, right? First, you have to have the idea.
No, yeah. I have. First, you have no idea, but if you begin to speak, you become idea. If you begin to draw, you become also idea. As I explained to you, you begin to draw cube, and suddenly you think you should add something. That is the thinking in the process. That is what I mean. Processing by drawing, not processing by 100 drawings, but processing inside on one drawing. That is the point. And you make it, and that's ready. And then computer. And I make only just 1 and 2, 3 weeks. They ask me, is it so or no, left, right? That's it. Also, I work now with some English-based roboter techniques. I can build 30,000 square meters a year with roboter, any facade by wood, any possibility. They don't need architects anymore. They need just these initial sketches, and after that, architecture, structure, MEP, it's inside. And roboter build it up. I have seen it in London also like for 1 month. It is amazing. That is the point, that the thinking process should be compromised. Should be simplified so much that the machine understands it on the simplest way. That's the point.
Tekrar merhaba, ben Ersan Yıldız Galata Üniversitesi'nden Türkçe soracağım. Şimdi tasarım yapmak, çizmek, hatta yazı yazmak, bunlar bireysel, yani kişiye özel diyebileceğimiz personal şeyler. Biz Sergei Tchoban'ın mimarisini ve hatta çizimlerini beğenip takdir eden insanlar olarak acaba şimdi fırsatı gelmişken şu sözü alabilir miyiz? Yani bu şansı pas geldi, gol atalım diye söylüyorum. Yaratım sürecini merak eden insanlar olarak acaba şunu merak ediyorum. Dünyanın pek çok yerinde böyle urban sketchers gibi gruplar var. Gezip çizimler yapıyorlar. Kendisi böyle bir şeye katılıyor mu? Eğer katılıyorsa, imkanımız varsa, şimdi burada farklı üniversitelerden hocalar var. Aynı zamanda odamız da burada. Yani bunu bir organizasyon yapsak, kendisinden katılma sözünü alabilir miyiz? Çünkü öyle bir şey yapsak sanırım öğrencilere de yer kalmaz. Hemen hocalar kontenjanı dolduracaktır gönüllü olarak. Ama böyle bir imkanı yaratırsak kendisinden söz alma şansımız olabilir mi? İstanbul'da böyle bir organizasyon düzenlemek konusunda.
So that's an offer, I guess. This is an offer. So he asks that we. So he asks that we admire your work, your sketches, your writings. These are very personal things, as we know, and as we are your admirers of your works, do you think that we can have an organization for like the the urban sketches, like they come together and sketch the streets or something? They have these kind of an organizations. So do you think there are too many lecturers from some universities here? So do you think that we can do that with our students and lecturers together for some time, if it's possible?
Yes. I made it with University of Sao Paulo. It was quite successful, as it was like, I think, 3 days. I made with the students, we were going through the town, and maybe even the professors of universities, they could show where the area is, and I would then choose what in this area could be interesting to research. And yes, I did it. It's, of course, I'm not the unbusiest in the world, but I mean, if we plan it a little bit in advance, for example, next springtime, what is very handsome in your town, we could do it. Yes, why not? I love this, and I do it. It is not so that I show all these things like I did it in the last 20 years and now not more. I do it, of course, every time. For example, I can show you. I was now in Tashkent. I make big project in Tashkent, and I've drawn. Drawn in Tashkent. People were coming and so on. Yes, we can do it. I'm not afraid about them, and maybe if it's good for students, for the people, we can do it, of course.
Okay,
but it should be prepared in advance, a little bit in advance.
Başka soru yoksa, so if there is no any questions, I think this is all.
Yeah, great.
Thank you so much. Thank you, really.
I would believe it's for you.
But at least we can take a photo, maybe.
Yeah, the flowers are for you because you are great, and your help and your very nice questions in between were very helpful for me, because I understood that I explained something maybe not good enough, and it was very helpful. No, it was very helpful.
So maybe we can have a photo.
Yeah, we make photo, and
thank you so much.
then it is.